voice. I'm going to do something a little different.
When I first spoke with Jessica through Cassandra, her voice trembled.
Oh, Cassandra. I hate these commercials.
I could sense
I swear if I die, I'm gonna still hate these commercials. This is the deadly fame, the case of Phil Spector. Phil Spector got away with a lot of shit. So I'm gonna play this, and this was 20. It's 23 minutes and 8 seconds long.
your fame or your wealth or your supposed celebrity.
And I remember this case.
You will stand trial.
And I remember they did paint her as like someone that was heartbroken, or like, yeah, they painted her as someone that was desperate, and she was not desperate. It's just really it's disgusting and sad. But a lot of things don't make sense. So
on February 3rd, 2003, a hysterical 911 call was made from the mansion of famous record producer Phil Spector. Spector's personal chauffeur made that very call, and he would become a star witness in a case and trial that captivated people all over the world. Born in 1939 in New York, Harvey Philip Spector showed creative talent and a passion for music from a very young age. He quickly began forming bands and learning instruments. While he achieved success with his band the Teddy Bears, his luck drastically changed when he decided to move into producing records. He became a millionaire before the age of 21, and by the 1960s, he had 23 records in the top 50. It was also in the 1960s that he signed the band The Ronettes to his record label. One-third of the talented trio Ronnie fell in love with Spector, and they later married. However, the honeymoon phase soon faded. Spector quickly became controlling and abusive towards her. Metal bars were placed over the windows, barbed wire put around the mansion, and he would take her shoes in a bid to prevent her from running away. Ronnie claimed he frequently threatened her life and often pulled guns on her. In her 1990 memoir, she spoke about the years of torment which culminated in her escaping from the house, barefoot, with the help of her mother. She said, "I knew that if I didn't leave, I was going to die." Multiple witnesses would say, although he was a musical genius, he could also become erratic and volatile and frequently drank heavily during recording sessions. The more he drank, the darker things became, and he would often pull guns out and fire them at walls and ceilings. Despite the personal turmoil, professionally, Spector's career was still on the up. He was collaborating and working with the likes of the Beatles, the Ramones, the Supremes, and the Rolling Stones. He contributed to and produced a vast amount of hit songs, including Rock and Roll High School, Imagine, and You've Lost That Loving Feeling. He also created and coined a new music production technique that people would use for years to come, known as the Wall of Sound. He had well and truly reached the top of his profession, and was highly sought after by various A-list artists. However, during the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, Spector took more of a backseat, remaining virtually inactive. Rumours about his wild, bizarre, and troubling personal life began hitting the headlines once more. He was, however, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame during these decades. 3rd of February 2003. Phil Spector had been driving around LA, going on several dates with different women, visiting his favourite spots. Over several hours, he spent time at The Grill, Trader Vic's, and Dan Tana's. He had already taken a concoction of pills with a mixture of alcohol, including liquor that was 75% proof.
What he was doing, he was trying to get a fix.
And sometime after midnight,
He was
he
trying
and
to
one
get
of his
his high.
dates entered the VIP area of the famous House of Blues on Sunset Boulevard,
He
Los
was
Angeles.
Trying to feed with like your ego, I guess that's what you're saying.
Lana Clarkson was an American actress and model. Born in California in 1962, she quickly showed a spark for the entertainment industry. She was talented, beautiful, and had a lot of passion for performing. People that knew her said she also had great comedic timing, regularly working on her own sketches and stand-up ideas. Lana hoped to be cast in different roles that showed her many talents and versatilities as an actress. By the 80s, she was achieving success within the industry. Although playing bit parts, these These parts were in big movies and TV shows. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Scarface, Three's Company, and The Jeffersons, to name a few. She was also passionate when it came to helping others. She did a lot of charity work and
Alexa,
volunteered weekly
what
for
is the meaning
Project
of
Angel
yellow?
Food, which delivered food for those in Los Angeles
The color
affected by
yellow is
HIV or
described as the
AIDS.
primary color between
As she
green and
approached her
orange in the
30s,
visible
however, her
spectrum.
career
It
started
is
to slow
also an
down, and
adjective
she
to
wasn't
describe the
acting as
color yellow.
frequently. She decided to start a website as a way of interacting with her fans. On this site, she sold signed copies of her films as a way of making some extra money and giving her fans something more personal. In 2001, she had a serious accident, breaking both her wrists in 26 places, requiring multiple surgeries. This left her physically unable to carry on any film or commercial work for a long time. After this long break, she struggled even more to get the roles she used to, and she began taking part-time jobs to support herself. In early 2003, she took on a new job as a hostess at the House of Blues in West Hollywood, Los Angeles. Many that knew her said this was a clever and strategic decision, as the House of Blues was a popular celebrity hangout. Anybody who was anybody would spend time there, and being a hostess, Lana would regularly be making connections with all manner of powerful people within the industry. On February 3rd, while working in the VIP area, she walked right into one of those powerful people, Phil Spector. Witnesses said that Spector was wearing one of his notorious wigs, and Lana momentarily thought that he was an unknown female trying to get into the exclusive area. At first, she refused him entry, but upon being told he was a famous record producer, she immediately apologised and began showering him with attention and drinks. When Spector's date no longer wanted to participate in the drinking, Spector sent her home. His attention was now firmly on Lana Clarkson. It was very clear to onlookers that Spector was heavily intoxicated by this point and was continuing to drink heavily and spiral further out of control. A few hours later, at around 2:30 a.m., Lana finished her shift and went to go and find her car. She clearly made a good impression on Spector, as after he spotted her in the street, he begged her to come back to his mansion for a drink.
I want to talk,
The CCTV footage from outside the venue shows Lana getting into Spector's car. Sometime after 3 a.m, Spector's personal driver dropped both Phil and Lana at the back door of the producer's mansion in Alhambra. It was about 40 miles away from the House of Blues. Known as The Castle, this secluded 3-acre house boasted 33 rooms and was Spector's pride and joy. The details surrounding how the next series of events came to be will never be fully known. Just before 5 a.m, Spector's driver, Adriano de Souza, heard a loud popping sound. He got out of the car to check it was nothing to do with the vehicle and was getting back into it when he saw the back door slowly open.
I got South
Phil
Dakota,
Spector emerged holding a gun and
South
said,
Carolina,
"I think I
Iowa,
killed someone."
Maryland, Vermont,
Upon looking past Spector into the
Arizona,
foyer,
and
Adriano
Minnesota.
saw the legs of Lana Clarkson.
I
She
believe
was slumped in a chair
Minnesota,
with blood coming
if I'm
from
not
her mouth.
mistaken.
Adriano ran down the
Arizona's a
driveway.
Phoenix.
He was fearing for his life and knew he needed to call the police. Before he made the call to 911,
Vermont.
he left a voicemail on Michelle Blaine's answer phone. Michelle was Spector's longtime personal assistant. Adriano briefly told her what had happened, and he would later say that he didn't know the exact address, and he initially phoned her to ask her for it. After backing out onto the street and confirming the road name, he phoned 911.
North Carolina, South Dakota.
Hi,
These
my
are just
name is
mine.
Adriano. I
if
think
you
my
can hear
boss
me.
killed somebody. Please, can you send me
You think your boss killed somebody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your boss's name?
It's a Phil Spector.
I'm sorry?
Phil Spector.
At around 5:10, police descended on Spector's sprawling property. When the police spotted him, Spector began to retreat and seemingly started to reach for something in his shirt. Worried he might be attempting to arm himself, they tried to use a taser on Spector, but it got tangled in his clothing and didn't work. They then rushed him with a ballistic shield and knocked him to the floor. Other officers ran past to find Lana. It was evident that nothing could be done to save her, and she was already deceased. Near Lana's body was an open drawer containing an empty gun holster. The holster seemed to match the gun lying next to Lana's legs. Although no fingerprints were found on the gun when it was examined, Lana's blood was discovered around various parts of the mansion. In one of the bathrooms, police found a cloth covered in blood. as well as blood on one of Spector's jackets hanging in a closet, and more blood was on the stairs. In the main living room, police found an empty bottle of tequila and a cocktail glass with some lit candles. Just after 6 a.m, Spector was brought in for questioning on suspicion of murder, and the arresting officers noted that he reeked of alcohol and was clearly inebriated. Shouting and slurring at the officers, he denied any wrongdoing and claimed that Lana had taken her own life. He said she even kissed the gun before she pulled the trigger. While in jail, he made a phone call to Robert Shapiro, a defense attorney to the stars.
How
Most notably, Robert
did he
Shapiro had been
get
part
it
of
so
O.J. Simpson's
far?
defense team in the high-profile 1995 trial.
Because he was hiding something.
Thanks to Shapiro, Spector's bail was set at $1 million, which he quickly made
Oh,
and swiftly
that's
headed
funny.
back to
As
his
I'm looking down, I see
multi-million-dollar
cheese.
mansion. Following a similar approach he had
Wisconsin,
taken in the Simpson trial,
Wyoming.
Shapiro began regularly conversing with the
Good
media in a bid to control the situation and present Spector's
Wisconsin is
narrative.
also
In the
related
following months,
to
Spector's
my
PR
family,
team
but it's
also
also
appeared to go into
related to
overdrive, and multiple unfavourable
Michael
stories were coming
Hawley,
out about Lana
because he
Clarkson.
was
It was
Wisconsin. He was
alleged
a
that she
Green
was
Bay
depressed
Packer
at her
fan.
fledgling career and had just wanted to end it all. A
He
portrait
was also
was
in the
painted
military,
of her as a
Marines.
washed-up B-list movie actress who was struggling to make ends meet. And shockingly, despite no confirmation of this, it was reported by
The time is 5:38. Remember, you are here. 1:51.
the Los Angeles radio station that Lana had accidentally shot herself.
Hey Alexa,
During these months, Spector also made many various bizarre
did Phil
televised
Spector
interviews
have an
telling
island?
anyone that would listen that Lana had taken her own life on that fateful night.
Let's see.
The autopsy results finally came back.
Hey Alexa, did Phil Spector own an island?
Phil Spector did not own an island.
Hey Alexa, is Phil Spector on Epstein's list?
I couldn't find a list called Epstein's.
Hey Alexa, was Phil Spector on Epstein's island?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, yes, he is. On May 29, 2009, Spector was sentenced to 19 years to life in the California state prison system. He is currently an inmate at the California Healthcare Facility in Stockton, California. He is eligible for parole in 2025.
Hey Alexa, did Kevin Spacey own an island?
Kevin Spacey is not known to have owned an island. However, there are various celebrities who have purchased islands in the Exuma Keys, including Bernard Arnault, David Copperfield, and Johnny Depp.
Back to...
They determined that Lana had died when a single bullet severed her spine. On the 22nd of September 2003, despite Spector's claims of suicide, Lana's death was officially ruled as a homicide. And just a few months later, Phil Spector was formally charged with the death of Lana Clarkson. He pled not guilty and maintained that she had taken her own life. It would be 5 years before the case would enter a courtroom. In March 2007, Spector went on trial for the murder of Lana Clarkson. He was charged with second-degree murder, and it was a media frenzy. Judge Larry Paul Fidler was presiding and allowed the proceedings to be televised. Robert Shapiro was no
Like,
longer
he was
working for
lying
Spector,
the whole
and
time, and he was
Leslie
just
Abramson
spitting
now in
out
charge.
shit. So if you
At
go
this point,
back
she was
to
most famous for
that
representing
court
Eric
case,
Menendez,
you
the
will
infamous
see
Menendez
all
brothers trial.
those like
Leslie
all
and
those
Phil
people
clashed and they parted ways.
getting
While
away
looking
with
for another
murder.
lawyer,
Like,
Spector decided to take matters
how's
into his
Lana
own
ever gonna
hands and
get
created a
justice if
website
all those
with the
people were
intent of
involved?
putting his version of events to the public.
She
His
always
personal
wanted to help
assistant, Michelle,
out, so
helped him
dead
come
or
up with
alive,
strange
she's
and
helping
erratic
out
videos.
more than ever.
She
So
recalled feeling at the time that something was deeply
we're
disturbed
so-called
about the way he was
friends,
approaching
I
the
guess.
situation.
I don't know.
dying woman there, which needed medical attention, and there was still no paramedics there. Yet we called them.
So the people in court right now, like, there's cameras there, and I know they're watching me. They're analyzing us. They've been analyzing us. So Lauren Tapia, lie all you want in court because they're just gonna see your face and they're just gonna know your body language. Like, these judges are the corruption. They are part of like, they're no different than pimps. They're no different than pedophiles because they are on pedophile side. They are not justice. Justice is taking responsibility for your action. Justice is knowing what's right and wrong. And these judges do not know what's right and wrong because they are in the wrong. They've been in the wrong. These courts have been in the wrong. Because this shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have happened. This guy. What happened to his in his childhood, and I know exactly what, because I'll show you another video of his childhood.
So he could continue firing without having to change magazines. He fired 154 rounds in around 4 minutes and killed
The
26
fact that
people.
her family had to sit and listen to his bullshit.
I can't bring Daniel back, but I can save others. Please sign the petition.
And how the media portrayed her as the wrong, as somebody that was desperate, is disgusting. That part is really disgusting to me.
Now the other half goes that obstruction of justice, and he can go to jail for that. So he's denied, and I fired him. I had been out at dinner and at the grill. I'd been to another restaurant downtown.
He's also tied to the human sex trafficking. That's why it took so long. That's why 9/11 happened.
He could never stand up and shoot a girl in the mouth with a gun. Where's my history of this?
After a while of searching for a new attorney, Bruce
And
Cutler
what he
took
did to
over.
his children.
However, he too withdrew due to differences of opinions with Spector. This was just days before the closing arguments. Linda Kenny Baden then stepped in and took over for the final part of the trial. His constant hiring and firing of his legal teams also kept setting the trial back a huge amount. During the trial, Spector's love of guns and his history of abusive and manipulative relationships with people.
Like, they knew OJ did it.
There's a pattern
He was
that
just a
emerges
ticking
in
time bomb.
Spector's history. And it's a pattern that's indelibly etched.
And now
into
it's
his
like,
history. When there's a woman,
my dad was so pissed because my dad was like, he really liked OJ. He was an OJ fan because he was in movies. He was in a comedy movie. And then what he did with his wife,
By this time,
he's like, such a
spoken out
beautiful
against
wife,
Spector,
and he had to
many
go and
artists
fuck
and
it up,
assistants
like,
had
kill
attested
her.
his erratic and
Like, what the
volatile
fuck was
behaviour.
wrong with him? What made him snap?
Spector's son Gary said that at no point did he disbelieve
And
anyone's account of how Spector had
I
behaved
know
in the
it's
past.
football and the way
Said
he
it
was
even
brought
gave him
up. It was the
flashbacks
way
as
he
to what
was
it was
brought
like to
up.
live
But
with
that
him.
still doesn't agree. Like, come on. Just take
The star
responsibility.
witness
Why are
in
you
the
gonna...
trial, Adriano de Souza, testified on the stand.
He knows he's a
Lot more
piece
to
of
say about
shit.
the limo ride over to the castle. He claimed that Lana was less keen on going back to Spector's mansion.
So, you know
and
what?
essentially
As long as he
kept
knows he's a
pressure on
piece of
her to
shit,
get
as
into
long
the
as he
limo.
knows that,
She
and it
eventually said
shows,
she would go back for one drink, and then
he's
she wanted
actually
to
helping
leave.
out other
His
people.
reluctance
So
to go with him in the first place did little to help the defence's case. Spector's defense team painted
he is
Lana
ratting
in a
out
very
people. He
unflattering
is ratting
light.
out people.
She was spoken
So
of as someone who seemed desperate to revive an already unsuccessful
it's
career, and in
corruption.
failing to
So
do so had slumped into depression, culminating in her
of course he
taking her
knows what
own
he
life
did
in
is wrong.
Spector's home. On September
And he has
10th,
nothing, he
2007,
can't do anything
the
else
jury
but to
began their
fix it. As long as he
deliberations.
fixes it in this
After a
life,
week, they came back in a
the
deadlock,
the
7
hard
to
part
5.
about watching
They
it
deliberated further, trying to come to a unanimous decision.
we're going to
But on the
be
26th of
seeing
September,
two
the
sides.
judge
Either
declared a
he's going to
mistrial as
heal
the jurors were still in a deadlock,
and
this
continue
time
going
10
up,
to
or
2.
he's just gonna go down and just
This
drink
was,
and do
however,
whatever he
in
wants,
favour of
like
the prosecution.
gamble or
This
go back
ultimately meant
into
that they
the
hadn't
process
reached
of
the majority,
killing or
the whole
corruption.
process would have to start
So
all over
the
again
way to
with
look
a new
at that
trial.
is if him
It
healing
was a
as
devastating blow
doing
for
good
Lana's
things
loved ones
now,
and the
like
prosecution.
that's going to
Prosecutor Alan
hurt
Jackson said he
some
wanted a
people that
retrial as
have
quickly as
been
possible.
victims of
He
his.
said he owed it to Lana and her family to see that justice was done.
So that
After the trial
part,
was over, in a shocking twist, Spector asked his
I
assistant
can
Michelle if she
I
would
can
marry
see
him.
the anger in
He
someone
worried that she
else's.
knew too much
Like,
and said he would feel safer if they were married.
how would you
as spouses
feel?
don't have to testify
Just think
against
about it.
each
How
other
would
in
you
court.
feel And when you
Michelle
do that, when you
refused.
think about that, when you just imagine or just
13
like
months
ask
later, on
somebody,
October
because you're not in
29,
that position,
2008,
you don't
the
know.
retrial
So
began.
you ask and you'll
Judge
get some
Larry Fiddler was
information. You get,
presiding
well,
again,
it's kind of
although
like
this
this,
time
it's
the
kind of
trial
like
was
that.
not televised. Doran
So,
Weinberg
and
was now
okay,
Spector's
so
attorney,
instance, we'll
and
just use
going
this
up
for
against
example.
Weinberg
Some
for the
cards fell,
prosecution
and I'm
was
holding them.
still Alan Jackson.
Some cards fell.
Weinberg argued that the only
I have some of
witness who
these
had been in
cards
the
here,
vicinity at the time,
and they're
Adriano
different because I'm going to use
D'Souza,
them
was
later. But
continuously
some of
giving
these cards
slightly
fell, so I'm
different
going to use it
versions
as
of
a
the
game
event
right
and
now.
how it had played out. Weinberg said that this alone should be enough to acquit Spector.
West Virginia, Mountain
Prosecutor Alan
State,
Jackson fired back, arguing that Lana had shown
Indiana,
absolutely no
Appalachia,
signs of suicidal behaviour, and it just didn't add up,
Alabama,
no matter which way one looked
part
at
of
it.
Dixie,
The judge again allowed Spector's past history of guns and
New
relationships
Jersey,
to be used as evidence during
Golden
the
State,
trial, and witness after
oh,
witness
Garden
came
State.
forward to
I'm like,
attest to
Golden
these harrowing
State's
accounts. The
Garden
prosecution
State,
focused
New
and
Jersey.
honed in more on the analysis of the blood. It was
Oregon,
clear that the forensic evidence
Beaver
was
State,
overwhelming. The blood splatter analysis shows that
Colorado,
there was blood on the back
Denver,
of Lana's hands and wrists.
and New York,
An expert testified
Albany.
that if she was holding the gun herself, this particular position of the blood didn't add up. They said that this indicated that her hands would have been up and near her mouth, with her palms facing outwards, not inwards, as if she was holding a gun. They argued that the placement of her hands appeared to be in a more defensive position, but simply, the blood was on the wrong side of her hands and wrists. The prosecution also said that the blood on Spector's jacket definitively put him within arm's reach of
Nearly
Lana, with his arms pointed
78%
at her
of West
face.
Virginia is covered by
Alan
forests.
Jackson reminded the courtroom of Lana's terrible accident in which she broke both her wrists. Following the path that the bullet entered her mouth, they knew that the gun would have to have been held in a very specific way. Because of the spiral fracture.
Now, the broken wrist part, that is a it relates. It's something like our ancestors, like for instance, Michael J. Fox or Christina Applegate. They have a spiritual attack on them, and when you have double wrist broken or something double on you, or something happened double on you, like let's say you broke a leg and you got pins on it, and then a year later you got the other leg got broke, almost same thing happened, but a little bit worse, and you got pins on that one. That is a sign of your ancestors warning you, telling you, like they're trying to help you predict something. They're trying to give you some clues there. So when you come back to this realm, this dimension, you're going to be getting a lot of wrist things, a lot of wrist things. For instance, since the wrist thing happened, my dad's father, so my grandpa, when he left my grandma, he cut off his girlfriend's hands or arms, and she had to get hooks. And he did that. So, and he's also serving time, and he died in prison. So that is, to me, that is a symbol of she was being attacked already, like someone in Hollywood. So it's just codes, more codes.
Because of the spiral fracture she had from her accident, she couldn't have physically held the gun in the position it would have had to have been in. They also said that in a 10,000 square foot house, the chances of Lana, who had never been...
Yeah, and then imagine if she never had her wrist broken, then they would have said, "Oh yeah, of course she did suicide." They would have set something fucking up. And if how it went down, I feel like if that limo driver called the like Spector's person, they would have covered up her death, because he was already trying to stage it. He was already trying to cover her up. Like, it was just sad how it happened. Like, she was a sacrifice that Hollywood need to wake up to set something up. As hard as that is, it's very hard. And then watching Kesha, after watching Kesha again, the TikTok video, it's like, it reminds me of Whitney Houston and Bobby, um, and Nick Carter now. It's just, it's hard. And knowing what Kesha went through, and she was screaming and yelling the whole fucking time, it's just disgusting. That's just, and Lauren Tapia likes Kesha.
Totally far-fetched and ridiculous. This same gun allegedly used to shoot herself had no fingerprints on it at all. If Lana had been holding it, hers should have been there. The prosecution speculated that the way in which Lana's body was found indicated something very significant. Her jacket and shoes were on and her handbag was across her shoulder. It appeared that she was attempting to leave the property. It was in that moment that Spector felt like he was losing control, and just the same as the other ex-partners described, he reached for the gun in a bid to control the situation. This, along with all of the witness testimonies and the other evidence collected from the scene, showed that the prosecution appeared to have a firmly watertight case.
What could you have done? Because he was powerful.
The worst. I hated shaving, and not just because
he could destroy her.
My skin, it's also very sensitive. Every time I would shave, I would bleed, get razor burns, and ingrown hairs, and it was just always red and inflamed. It was just
so
awful.
Why would
the alternative was just to have hair everywhere all the time,
why would the
we all know
justice
is not
system
going into laser hair removal, I really
not
wasn't sure what to expect. I knew I probably would
give
be
her the
frequently,
justice
but
that
what I
she
didn't know is what it
deserved?
was going to do for the complexion and texture of my skin.
Instead, why are other people fighting for her to get justice?
For the first time, my skin feels soft, smooth.
Because she's not the only one that's fighting to get justice.
My
There's other
results from
people.
laser hair removal by laser away have been absolutely life-changing.
So me being a medium psychic, this is what I do. But it's none of my business to be putting it out everywhere. It's not. I wouldn't want that.
With some areas that might seem a little bit more sensitive, but they blow cold air on you, which makes it super manageable. So for the most part, I barely ever feel anything. Best of all, it's quick. The underarms take about 5 minutes, the legs are around 30, and then you're done.
I feel like, too, like with my dad, like I tell him, like, I don't want to be it. And they know, some of them know that I don't want to be
and they always make sure I'm comfortable. It honestly just feels like I'm hanging out with one of the girls. 5
like
stars,
they don't.
10 out of 10, you've got to try laser hair removal by Laser Away.
So if they pass by, if they linger, it depends. Like, I have to have strong boundaries too. Just like in this realm, I have to have strong boundaries, and I have to protect myself when my eyes are closed. See how these commercials will get to you? And the commercials are so fucking long now. What happened to like 30 seconds to it started creeping up to a minute, 2 minutes, now 20 minutes for a fucking commercial?
In violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
Dad, I asked my dad, go, since I have to listen to commercials here and now, that means he has to listen to commercials too. Dad, are they just as annoying in the afterlife as the now? Absolutely.
Required by law 15 years to life on his conviction for second-degree murder for the enhancement pursuant to 2.5A. The person that uses a firearm, the court selects the presumptive midterm of 4 years for a total of 19 years to life.
On April 13th, 2009, the jury found Phil Spector guilty of second-degree murder. And on May 29th, 2009, he was sentenced to 19 years to life in prison.
We intend vigorously to...
How much money did that cost? How many people made money off of that?
Able to and are entitled to, we will pursue because we do believe that this was not the right result. We do tell you that Mr. Spector did not kill Lana Clarkson, and we hope that somehow, by the time we are done, we will have been able to prove that.
With this verdict and this sentence.
So how can I prove that I say who I am?
If you commit crimes in our communities, if you commit violence against our citizens, we, under the watchful eye of the district attorney's office, we will find you. We will prosecute you.
Because if you're gonna come to me and tell me about Jesus and God, I'll be like, who? I don't know.
You will stand trial.
You're gonna tell me about 222?
In January 2021,
You're a demon.
Spector died in
You're a
a
walking
response to
demon. You're a
solve
walking asshole.
complications related to COVID-19.
I'm gonna tell you what those numbers
He was
actually
81
mean.
years old and would have been eligible for
I'm gonna
parole
show
in
you how long you've
2024.
been brainwashed. I'm gonna show you what you've been
Clarkson's
eating. I'm gonna
passionate,
show
warm,
you.
and loving personality
Because if you
lives
go
on
into your
with friends
bathroom and you
family.
go into like
She was a funny and talented
your
woman who
shampoo,
had so much
you're
more
gonna
to
see
give
the
than achieve.
ounces 444
Her
or
life was cut
333.
tragically
You're
short,
gonna see all
but
that.
the memories people have of her
You're
continue
gonna
to
go
keep
into
her
your
vibrant
Bible. You're
spirit
gonna go
alive.
flip a book, and it's just gonna all synchronize because it's been there. So the MK Ultra, my mom's been that shit because of the whole military thing. My grandma, she had to write a letter. The pen pal. So she got like tangled up with my grandpa. My grandpa wasn't really into her, and my grandma was bigger. She wasn't my grandpa's type at all. Besides, my grandpa was bi. And if women, if anything, he probably preferred men. Which pissed me off. Which really did piss me off.
Puma was part of an ancient temple complex. But they are baffled by the uniformly shaped and sharp-edged stone blocks found all over the site.
And for my grandpa and my grandma, like,
structure these blocks actually form. Could it be that the ruins of
my uncle
evidence of advanced extraterrestrial
is a pedophile.
In the ancient past?
Like, he got a he got a 12-year-old pregnant. He got my aunt pregnant. And her name,
my name is Giorgio Tsoukalos.
I forgot her name. She had a daughter, Lori. No. Anyways, Lauren's my cousin. Had Lauren at 12 years old. And my mom is claiming she did not know that she was 12 years old. Like, I couldn't believe my mom. I couldn't believe what she was saying. And when I turned 12 years old, I remember I could not imagine having a baby at 12 years old. Maybe 15 or 16, I was like, I think I can, but not no fucking 12, no fucking way. And my grandma was 16. So to me, I felt like 16 was young, but not as young as 12. Like, I was still playing with fucking Barbies at 12. So I don't know what they were doing at 12 years old, but it wasn't no playing with Barbie. So I know my mom was like high on fucking something else. Paint chips, perhaps. But I know my Aunt Bonnie was fucking like an alcoholic, and she would always have those daiquiris, and she was always fucking drunk. Always fucking drunk.
Of special interest are the walls
I remember
of this large, square-shaped courtyard,
going over to her house one time with my mom.
Numerous carved stone faces.
They were gonna make daiquiris, and I'm old enough. I was like, what, 22, 23? And she's like, I'll make you a virgin daiquiri. Because someone has to drive.
Half a mile away from the temple of Tiwanaku,
that's kind of like...
what is thought to be yet another temple complex.
And then she goes, oh wait, but
the gateway of the Puma.
If you drink it now, you're just gonna have to, you know, like...
The name was given by the local Aymara people who found artifacts.
It's still treating me like a kid, you know?
Imagery of warriors wearing masks made of puma skulls.
And she always bragged about her fucking strawberry daiquiri stuff.
Inhabited the area for around 800 years, and Puma Punku is
I just thought that was funny.
Built thousands of years ago.
So then when I got older, like, I started seeing, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's the only person I could look up to that was outside of my family. But I didn't like the fact that she was so religious, and I didn't know her kids. I didn't know, like, here she is my godmother, but I don't know her kids. I don't know, and her husband is really mean.
But what's even more intriguing is that the blocks here don't even look like those found at Tiwanaku. It is one of the places where logic no longer makes sense.
Let's see. Phil Spector.
Blocks that we have here are unique on this entire planet. This is the only place.
Okay, this book is so you.
There's a cult that this girl I was watching.
Lori and Becky broke up. The students that they had broke up to, some decided to go with Lori, and some. So he likes to tell those girls, and then maybe nothing came up. And really good at, like, basically bullshitting. He said he could make people believe in whatever
This
he
is
said.
the Inside Bizarre occult Miley Cyrus accused of joining.
This, like, in the 70s, but when Gudney was marketing the martial arts they invented, he was like, "This is 1,600 ancient art."
Yeah.
Friends end up speaking out publicly against him and telling him to stop. And so he says,
There's another one. Hold on. That I want to play. That was really good.
I think probably the most often asked question about the show is why the Star Trek phenomenon. And this is, incidentally, not just a fan or a Trekkie question. It is now being asked by communications experts,
This might help
by
you guys.
sociologists, educators, and others. There have already been a couple of master's theses written on this, and there are a couple of doctorates presently at work. And it could be an important question because you can ask, how can a simple space opera with blinking lights and zap guns and a hobgoblin with pointy ears reach out and touch the hearts and minds of literally millions of people and become a cult in some cases? Obviously, what this means is that television has incredible power. They're saying that if a Star Trek can do this, then perhaps another carefully calculated show could move people in other directions. What's to keep selfish interests from creating other cults for selfish purposes?
Okay.
Industrial cartels.
What happened is that my dad was a big sci-fi fan, and I knew the difference between his work with Gene's work and the work of, like, the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, or the Glob, or the Green Fried Tomatoes, or the Little Shop of Horrors, or Meet the Robinsons, or Lost